All right, welcome my friends. Welcome to week 10. So the theme for this week is playing the game. So we've been going through this 12-week cycle. We've been in this spring quarter and really building this foundation. You know, the week that we're currently in right now is allowing the flow and working with the different elements. So within the different seasons, we've got these different elements. Spring is this fire element, setting intentions, preparing the stage now, getting close to the summer season, which is the water element, and, nurturing your creations and really allowing the flow of life. So now going into this week 10, this is where we really just start to embrace and trust in everything that has been built thus far and just play the game of life. And obviously part of playing that game is training your body. And as you will see, we're going to continue to develop this program so that there'll be more and more of these different teachings and different exercises and kind of allow the program itself to be more and more of this container that gets to expose you to all of these different elements. Even if you are just in this just purely for the physical training side of it, which, is great and it's, very valuable in that sense, you're still kind of getting some exposure to some of these other ideas that are really just going to help you with your training. The mental, emotional components, the nutrition and recovery components, the life management components, all of that's going to help you optimize your training. So we are heading into this prep week. We're now in this peak phase right now, the final phase of this quarter. Going into the prep week, the average for this week is a 3, 2, 1. So a little higher on the volume. Intensity is still going to be lower, but being that we are in the peak phase, we're getting pretty specific now and obviously the last few weeks to really maximize our test and getting ready for the treasure in the forest, our first quest of the life games, which, as you will see, we still ain't got the flashcards yet, bro. So let's take it away, Coach TJ.
All right, guys. And like Jose was saying, yes, the physical part of it. I remember when I first kind of started this journey a few years ago, and it was just all about the training, and that is a big piece of it. But as you'll find on this path, it all is just they're not separate. It's all connected. It's all one thing. And even though you may have to tap into different elements of who you are at different points in time, maybe training you is different than relationship you is different than work you is different than parent you. They're all a little different, but they're all different shades of the same color. It's all different elements of the same thing. So I would say the sooner you can kind of find a way to blend it all together, hey, to get the most out of my training, I need to go to bed at a decent time. I need to make sure I'm eating good enough food that's going to allow me to train and recover properly, get enough water. I need to manage what's going on in my life so that I can still do all the things I want to do. So kind of what he was just touching on, I just kind of want to piggyback off that and say it's all together, guys. It's all connected. And the different things, the different skills and different attributes you learn and gain in one area, you can take to you in other areas. It's just you. You are the thing that kind of is the common denominator, if you will. Okay. So with that, we get into it. All right. Weakness day. All right. We got a 5, 4, 1. So that's 5 exercises. All right. Density is going to be the 4. Intensity is the 1. Still keeping it light. So number 1 is a snatch. Piggybacking like we talked about the last couple of weeks. Get you guys ready for that 10 rep max for the snatch and clean and jerk. Here come. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So full snatches, 5 sets of 8. That's put some hair. Let's put some hair on your chest. But keeping it light, right? If it's just the bar, just getting yourself used to that, good body conditioned for that volume of reps, right? Then same thing, clean and jerk, 5 by 8, still light. Yep, just trying to keep the form as tight as you can. If you've got to take a quick second, a quick breath, reset in between those reps, do that. You don't have to just rep them out, right? But I would say once you finish that rep, take a second, reload, reestablish that tension so that way obviously you stay tight and protect yourself. Next, we got front squats. Now we're going to the SBD, squat, bench, deadlift kind of variations. Front squats, 5 by 8 out of 1. So again, just keeping it a little light if I need to. Focus on that range of motion. Then we got a close grip floor press with some chains. Again, we're bringing that one back. Coach Nate likes that one, and also it's just a good, nice variation to kind of help you with that closer grip and that drive through the hole. And then tire flips, 5 by 8 at 1. So either the smaller tire or a slower pace, right? Like taking a breath or so in between. We're not trying to like ripping out. We're not ripping these out quickly. You're taking our time with these flips and having a smooth rhythm as we go. All right, that is Weakness Day. Over to you.
There it is. Yeah, and it's all part of playing the game. So the structure of all of this is the earth element. Because, you know, we want the flow, which is the water, but if there's no banks to the river, if there's no structure to the flow, then really you don't really have flow, you just got a puddle. Or you might just have, you know, evaporated, it just gets evaporated, and now you just got air. You just got a bunch of ideas, which again, there's a season for that, there's a place for that, for the vision for the air element, but having the structure in place is what acts as banks to the river so that you can maximize your flow. So now going into day 2, it's our specific day. So it's a 4-3-1 as the average for today. So it's a 4 volume, 3 density, 1 intensity. So we'll do 4 different exercises. It's a specific day, so we're just gonna do squat, bench, deadlift, 4x3 out of 1. So keeping it pretty simple. And then we're gonna do like a specific accessory just to kind of tie it all together, because we got the 4 volumes, so we'll do 4 different exercises. So there's 4x3 out of 1 with the pull-up. So it's only 3 reps. So again, depending on your level of strength and where you're at, maybe, you know, if you're having to use bands, maybe you're able to use some less assistance because it's only 3 reps. Or if maybe you normally do body weight for a little bit of the higher reps, maybe now you can add a little weight. Even though, yes, it still is at a 1, but because you got the lower reps, you might be able to do a little more with that. All right? Go ahead, strength day.
All right, strength day. 2-1-2. Everybody in the 2-1-2. All right. Just keeping it a little more specific to what we're doing right now. Everyone with the bench and deadlift, you're already squatting a decent amount with the Olympic lifts, plus the squats I already have. So focusing on the bench and deadlift, can you take it a little bit more, right? A little heavier than the day before, right? If you're on the 5-3 program, but if not, obviously pushing a little bit with the 2 for the bench and deadlift. And that's out for the strength day. And then technique day is just some bar work, or, you know, weather's getting nicer. A little inconsistent right now, but maybe a walk outside, maybe a nice, you know, active recovery day. But either way, if you need that rest after the first couple of days, that's fine too. All right, accessory day.
Yeah, another little, as we're kind of on this theme here of the week 10 playing the game, you know, something you can take note of too is even the way that we break down the week, we're still working with these different elements. So there's a preparation phase of the week, which is related to the fire element, which again is just setting the stage for the build, which is basically the middle of the week, which is the water element. So you're kind of setting the stage for the flow, and then you bring it all together with the peak phase of the week, which is the final phase of the week, where that's obviously where we have our test at too. And then we have our rest, which our air element, kind of just getting the space, the ideas and the vision for the next week to come, and as well as reflection from the previous week. Okay, so our accessory day, it's a 3-2-1, so we're gonna have 3 exercise blocks. It's a 2 out of 5 density, so I'm gonna do a little lower on the volume, keeping it pretty simple and basic. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna bring back the sandbag over the shoulders. Not gonna lie, those kind of got me a little bit, but they are fun, and they are very compound movement that involves a lot of different things. So we're gonna bring those back, and then we're gonna superset that with suitcase carry. So that'll be our first little superset. We're gonna do 3 rounds of that, 45 seconds total for the sandbag over the shoulder, and then 100 feet per side going on the suitcase carry. And then the next thing that we'll do, another superset, 2 things. We're gonna do multi-directional lunge. We haven't had those in a while, my friends. We're bringing back the multi-directional lunge, and then we're gonna superset that with GHD sit-ups. 3 rounds of those as well. So the multi-directional lunges, you'll just do 1 complete round, and then the GHD sit-ups, you'll do 45 seconds worth. And remember, when we have these time parameters, like the 45 seconds, you can really play with the pace of things, because it's, you know, you're not limited by how many reps you're doing, so you can take things slower if you need to, or if you're feeling good and it's feeling easier, you can speed the pace up a little bit, but you're still doing the 45 seconds worth of work. Lastly, we'll do Swiss ball twister. So you're going to be kind of like if you were doing a jackknife, you're going to be in a push-up position with your feet on the ball, and then you're going to move your feet basically side to side. So there'll be a rotation with your feet while keeping your upper body steady. So it's going to work the transverse plane, kind of your twisting motion with those Swiss ball twisters. 45 seconds of those, and then we're going to superset that with the Turkish get-ups. Going to bring those babies back again. 3 per side. So we'll keep the reps a little lower on those. Again, 3 total rounds of that last one. And that is our accessory day.
Forgot the H in Turkish.
Whoopsies.
Turkish get up.
Turkish get up.
All right, gang. And obviously test day is what we've been testing for a while now. 20 rep max. And we're getting close. So at this point, we are pushing it. It's prep week. So, you know, not the same kind of fire intensity of a peak week, but still we are moving, kind of just continue to prepare our bodies for the big kahuna. So, you know, just continue to feel it out and do the best you can. 20 reps, you know the vibes. And then obviously getting a little closer with the flashcards. But hey, me and Coach Nate were talking before, looking at it like it's a peak, right? Looking like the mountain that like maybe you start the journey, you can't even see the top of it. And then as you go, maybe the peak becomes more clear and you recognize how far you still have left to go. But at the end of the day, if all you care about is the peak, then you'll get to the peak and maybe have a nice rush of like, yeah, I did it, but then it's going to quickly go. But if you fall in love with climbing, if you fall in love with the journey, the experience of going through it all, you'll get to that peak and maybe even more proud of yourself than you'll be for getting to the peak. You'll be proud of the person you became along the way. So, you know, obviously, rest it up after that. And we'll just keep pushing, everybody. You guys you're doing a great job.
And on that note, I will say that because the actual peak week is going to be the quest, so in essence, which this could change, but in essence, next week, so the build week will actually be the last week of the 20 rep max test, since we will be doing the official test going into the Treasure in the Forest. All right, so just keep that in mind. So, you know, it is a 3, so obviously, you know, not completely pushing it, but I mean, we've been doing this for 12 weeks now, and there's only a couple weeks left now, and then we won't see a 20 rep max like this for, I mean, damn near like 3.5 years. So, you know, take it while you got it. All right, there it is, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. Let's keep this baby rolling, and remember, journey is the way.
Journey is the way. See you guys soon.